I won $150 million and decided to keep it a secret until Christmas. But a week before, Mom said, "Your failure is contagious. We don't want to spend Christmas with that energy." I smiled and bought a house for $3,200,000. They were shocked. "Well, let's go. My name is Rowena and I'm 32 years old." In early October, I got fired from my job at a marketing firm. They said it was corporate restructuring, but that was a lie. I'd been working on a big project and it failed. The thing was, the failure wasn't my fault. Other people made the decisions that tanked it, but someone had to take the blame. That someone was me. I went home that day feeling numb. I had some savings, enough to live on for a while. Honestly, I was kind of relieved. My boss had been a nightmare, always demanding impossible things, always criticizing everything I did. I was exhausted. I figured I'd take some time off and start looking for a new job after I'd recovered a bit. Then I called my family to tell them what happened. My mother's response was immediate. "You should call Preston and apologize. Ask if you can move in with him." Preston was my ex-boyfriend. We'd broken up 6 months earlier because he wanted me to quit my job and be a housewife. I'd said no. Now, my mother thought I should crawl back to him. "I'm not calling Preston." "Well, you need somewhere to live if you can't afford your rent." "I can afford my rent. I have savings." My older sister Tierney called me next. "Dad's company is hiring. Can get you a job there. It's entry level, but it's something. I'm a marketing professional with 8 years of experience. I'm not taking an entry-level job." Beggars can't be choosers, Rowena. Then my brother Callum called. "Maybe this is a sign you should focus on finding a husband instead of chasing unrealistic career goals." I hung up on him. Over the next few weeks, my family started treating me differently. Like I was contagious, like my failure might rub off on them. At family dinners, they'd give me advice I didn't ask for. My mother told me to dilute my dish soap to make it last longer. My father suggested I walk everywhere instead of driving to save gas money. Tierney told me about couponing strategies. One Sunday I showed up for dinner and nobody wanted to sit next to me. They actually left an empty chair on either side of me like I had some kind of disease they might catch. It was humiliating, but I kept my mouth shut and got through the dinners. The one thing that kept me sane was my Friday ritual. Every Friday I bought lottery tickets. Always $10 worth. I've been doing it for years. The guy at the convenience store knew me by now. "This is your week, Rowena," he'd say every time, smiling. "I can feel it." My family knew about the lottery tickets. They thought it was hilarious. I didn't care what they thought. It was my money and it made me happy. In early December, I bought my usual Friday tickets. I went home, ate dinner, and forgot about them until the next morning when I checked the numbers online. I looked at my ticket, then at the screen, then back at my ticket. All 6 numbers matched. I'd won $150 million. I sat there staring at my phone for probably 20 minutes, not moving, barely breathing. After taxes, I'd have about $88 million. My first instinct was to call my mother to tell her everything, to share the news with my family. I picked up my phone and started dialing. Then I stopped. I thought about the past 2 months. How they treated me, the empty chairs at dinner, the constant advice about couponing and diluted soap. The way they looked at me like I was a failure, a burden, an embarrassment. Put my phone down. I'd tell them eventually, but not yet. I'd wait until Christmas. I'd make it a surprise, a gift. I'd tell them then and I'd help them all. Pay off Tierney's mortgage. Set up college funds for Callum's kids. Help my parents retire comfortably. They'd been awful to me, sure, but they were still my family. Once they knew about the money, everything would go back to normal, better than normal. I hired a financial consultant who specialized in lottery winnings. His name was Broderick Hale and he was expensive, but people online said he was the best. "Congratulations," he said when we met. "Now let's talk about how to handle this wisely." He gave me a whole plan. Investments, trusts, tax strategies. He also gave me a warning. "Your family is going to react to this news. People change when money is involved. Be prepared for that." "They're my family," I said. "They'll be happy for me." He gave me a look that said he'd heard that before. If you say so. I spent the next few weeks planning my Christmas announcement. I rehearsed what I'd say. I imagined their faces when I told them, their shock, their joy, their gratitude. Then, a week before Christmas, my mother called. "Rowena, we need to talk," she said. Her voice was calm, almost businesslike. "We've decided it would be better if you didn't come to Christmas this year." I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. "What? You don't have a job. You have no prospects. You've been so negative lately. And frankly, we don't want to spend Christmas with that energy. Your attitude could ruin the holiday for everyone else." "Mom, your failure is contagious, Rowena. We don't want it affecting the rest of the family. It's nothing personal. We just think it's better this way." She hung up. I sat there holding my phone, not believing what I just heard. Just to be sure, I texted Callum. "Did you know Mom uninvited me from Christmas?" "Yeah," he replied. We all agreed. "Sorry, but you've been kind of a downer lately. We want to have a nice holiday." I texted Tierney. "Are you okay with me not coming to Christmas?" "Honestly, yeah. Mom's right. You've been gloomy and it's bringing everyone down. Maybe take this time to figure your life out." I should have cried. I wanted to cry. Instead, I started laughing. I laughed so hard I had tears running down my face, because I'd almost told them. I'd almost shared my $88 million with people who thought I was too much of a loser to spend Christmas with. The next day, I went to a car dealership and paid cash for a new luxury car. $75,000. I drove it off the lot feeling amazing. That evening, Tierney called. "Mom said you bought a new car. How much did you spend?" "I had the means," I said vaguely. She laughed. It wasn't a nice laugh. "You're spending your last savings on a car? That's so stupid, Rowena. When your landlord kicks you out for not paying rent, you're going to be living in that car." I hung up on her. I spent Christmas alone, but not sitting at home feeling sorry for myself. I went to a posh country club, the kind of place I'd always wanted to try but thought was too expensive. I ordered lobster, filet mignon, expensive wine. I sat by the fireplace in a room full of decorations and wealthy people celebrating the holiday. The bill came to over $400. I didn't care. I had $88 million. I could afford one nice Christmas dinner. 2 weeks after Christmas, I called a realtor. A good one, the kind who works with serious buyers. "I'm looking for a luxury mansion," I told him. "Prestigious area, no budget limit." His name was Robert Langford, and he didn't miss a beat. "I have several properties that might interest you." We spent 2 weeks driving around looking at houses. Big ones, small ones, modern ones, traditional ones. Robert showed me everything in my price range. Then I saw it. A beautiful house in an exclusive neighborhood. $3,200,000. 5 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, a huge kitchen, a pool, a garden. It was perfect. "I'll take it," I said. I paid cash. The entire amount. Robert nearly fell over when I transferred the funds. I hired professional movers to pack up my rental apartment. I hired a decorator to furnish the new house, to make it look like something out of a magazine. I didn't tell anyone in my family what I was doing. In early March, I moved into my new house. It was gorgeous. Everything was exactly how I wanted it. My own space. My own property. Nobody could tell me what to do or make me feel like a failure. A week after I moved in, my old landlord called. "Rowena, your sister came by the apartment looking for you. She was surprised to find new tenants living there. She wanted to know where you'd gone. Thanks for letting me know." I hung up and waited. Tierney would be calling soon. I was sure of it. 2 days later, my phone started ringing. Tierney first, then my mother. I ignored the calls for a while, but eventually I answered when my mother called for the 5th time. "Where are you?" she demanded. "No hello. No how are you. Just anger. You moved out of your apartment. Where did you go?" For a second I thought maybe they were worried about me. Maybe they wanted to make sure I was okay. Maybe they wanted to invite me back home. "If you're homeless," my mother continued, You can go to a shelter or sell that stupid car you bought and use the money for a rental deposit somewhere. So much for being worried. I have a place to live, Mom. I don't need a shelter. Don't worry about it. Hung up. Couple weeks later, my doorbell rang. I looked through the window and saw Tierney standing on my front porch. She was staring at the house with her mouth open. Open the door. How did you find my address? You forgot my husband works for the police. I asked him to look it up. She walked past me into the house, looking around at everything. The high ceilings, the expensive furniture, the artwork on the walls. Her face went pale. Who did you rob? She whispered. I pulled out my phone and showed her the photo I'd taken of my winning lottery ticket. The one with all 6 matching numbers. She stared at it, then at me, then back at the photo. Her face went hard. She didn't say congratulations. She didn't say she was happy for me. She just turned around and walked out of my house without another word. I knew what would happen next. The next day my phone exploded. My mother called 4 times before I answered. What do you want? Tierney told us about the lottery. We need to discuss this as a family. Your father wants to have a meeting. Fine. Everyone can come here Sunday afternoon. I gave her my address and hung up. Sunday came. My parents, Tierney and her husband, Callum and his wife. They all showed up at my door, looking around at the house like they couldn't believe their eyes. We sat in my living room. Expensive furniture. Expensive everything. They were all staring at me. I won the lottery in December, I said. $150 million. After taxes, about $88 million. The room went silent. I watched their faces process the amount. Then they all started talking at once. Family support is so important, my mother said. We've always been there for you. My kids need college funds, Callum said. You know how expensive education is. My mortgage is really weighing on us, Tierney added. It would be so helpful if someone could help with that. Not one of them said congratulations. Not one of them said they were happy for me. Just immediate requests for money. I'll think about it, I said. But right now, I'd like you all to leave. They looked shocked, but they got up and left. As they walked out, I heard my mother whisper to my father. She'll help us. She has to. We're family. Over the next week, my phone was flooded with messages. My mother sent baby photos of me with captions like, "Remember when we took care of you?" Tierney sent long texts about how much she'd always loved me, how close we'd been as kids. My father, who barely ever texted, sent a message saying he was proud of me. Callum sent reminders about his kids and how important their education was. I read every message and didn't respond to any of them. Then I decided to run one more test. I sent a message to the family group chat. I've been thinking about giving all the money to charity. My phone rang within 30 seconds. It was my father, and he was yelling. Are you insane? You're going to give away millions to strangers. You're being a fool. My mother grabbed the phone from him. You've lost your mind, Rowena. What's wrong with you? Then Callum's voice in the background. We need to have her examined. Declare her incompetent. Take control of the money before she wastes it all. I looked at my family on the video call. All of them angry, desperate, demanding. They didn't care about me. They just wanted my money. I'm not giving any of you a single cent, I said. Then I ended the call and blocked all their numbers. After that, my family started showing up at my house in person. First, it was my parents. They rang the doorbell for 10 minutes straight. I watched them through the window but didn't open the door. My mother was crying. My father was pacing. Eventually they left. The next day, Callum and his wife came by. More ringing, more knocking. I stayed inside and ignored them. Then Tierney and her husband, same thing. They stood on my porch demanding I let them in. I didn't move. This went on for a week. Different combinations of family members showing up, begging for a chance to talk, to explain, to make things right. I never opened the door. But I knew they weren't going to stop. They knew where I lived now. They'd keep coming back, keep demanding, keep trying to get their hands on my money. I made a decision. I was leaving. I contacted a realtor in Charleston, South Carolina. Far enough away that my family couldn't just drop by whenever they wanted. I told her I needed a house fast and I had cash ready. She found me a beautiful place within a week. I bought it immediately. Then I listed my current house for sale. I hired a different company to handle it remotely so I wouldn't have to be there for showings or deal with anything personally. 2 weeks later, I packed up my things in the middle of the night and left. Professional movers loaded everything into a truck while my neighbors slept. By morning I was gone. I drove to Charleston and moved into my new house. It was smaller than the last one but still beautiful. More importantly, nobody here knew who I was or how much money I had. I changed my phone number, deleted all my social media accounts, cut off every way my family had to contact me except for one person. My Aunt Marlo, my mother's younger sister. She lived in Portland, Oregon, and had always been different from the rest of the family. Kinder. More understanding. We'd been close when I was younger. I called her from my new number and explained everything. The lottery, the family's reaction, my decision to disappear. Good for you, she said. They don't deserve your money or your time. Can you keep my number secret? I still want to talk to you, but I don't want anyone else to know how to reach me. Your secret's safe with me, honey. With my new life in Charleston, I had time to think about what I wanted to do with my money. I'd been so focused on protecting it from my family that I hadn't really considered my options. I decided to start a foundation, a charity that would help people in difficult situations. People who'd lost their jobs like I had. Single mothers struggling to make ends meet. Students who couldn't afford college. People facing eviction or homelessness. I hired staff, rented office space, and got everything set up properly. I didn't use my full name, just my middle name and last name, so it would be harder for my family to find me. I started working at the foundation myself. Not just writing checks but actually meeting the people we were helping, listening to their stories, understanding their struggles. Felt good. Better than anything I'd done before. A few months after I moved to Charleston, the foundation held a charity gala, a fundraiser to bring in additional money from other wealthy donors. I wore a nice dress, nothing too flashy, and mingled with the guests. I was talking to one of our major donors when a man approached me. "Rowena Grant," he said. "I'm Silas Wentworth. I own a tech company here in Charleston. I've been reading about your foundation's work. It's impressive. I'd like to discuss funding some of your programs if you're open to it." We talked for over an hour. He was smart, successful, and genuinely interested in helping people. He wasn't just looking for a tax write-off. He actually cared. "Would you like to have dinner sometime?" he asked as the gala was ending. We started meeting regularly. First for business dinners to talk about the foundation. Then for coffee. Then for regular dates that had nothing to do with charity work. Silas was easy to talk to. He made me laugh. He listened when I spoke. He never asked me for anything. 6 months after we met, he proposed. We were having dinner at his place and he just pulled out a ring and asked. Said yes. Around that time, Aunt Marlo called me with an update. "Your family is losing their minds trying to find you," she said. "Your mother calls me every week asking if I've heard from you. They're telling everyone you stole their money, that you owe them, that you've abandoned the family. Your mother is playing the victim, saying she doesn't understand why you've cut them off. Do they know I moved? They know you're not at the old house. Someone told them it's sold, but they have no idea where you went. Good. Your mother tried to hire a private investigator, but apparently you've covered your tracks well enough that even he couldn't find you." Felt relieved. My plan had worked. I was truly free of them. We talked for a while longer, and I felt grateful to have at least one family member who actually cared about me as a person, not as a bank account. My wedding was coming up. Small, intimate ceremony. No drama. No demands. No people who only wanted me for my money. Just me, Silas, and the people who genuinely cared about us. The wedding was scheduled for early June. Silas and I kept it small like we planned. 20 people total. Close friends, a few of his business partners who'd become genuine friends, and Aunt Marlo flying in from Portland. We rented a beautiful venue with a garden. Nothing too flashy, just elegant and comfortable. The kind of wedding where everyone actually knew each other and wanted to be there. No distant relatives showing up expecting gifts. No family members I hadn't spoken to in years suddenly acting interested in my life. Just people who cared about us. Aunt Marlowe arrived 2 days before the ceremony. I picked her up from the airport and she hugged me for a long time. Over coffee that afternoon, she gave me another update on my family. Your mother is still telling everyone you've abandoned them. She posts on Facebook about how ungrateful children are. How she sacrificed everything for you. She doesn't mention the lottery money, of course. Just makes it sound like you cut them off for no reason. What about the others? Tierney is bitter. She tells anyone who'll listen that you're selfish and cruel. Callum doesn't talk about it much, but your mother says he's struggling financially. He was counting on that college fund money. He has a job. He can save for his own kids' college. I know. I'm just telling you what I've heard. Do they know about the wedding? Not from me. I haven't told them anything. Thank you. She reached across the table and squeezed my hand. You made the right choice, Rowena. Walking away from people who only valued you for your money was the healthiest thing you could have done. The wedding day arrived. Perfect weather. Beautiful flowers. Everything exactly as we'd planned. Silas and I stood in front of our 20 guests and said our vows. Simple, honest words about love and partnership and building a life together. Nobody objected. Nobody caused drama. Nobody demanded anything from me. It was perfect. At the reception, I danced with Silas, talked with friends, laughed more than I had in years. Aunt Marlowe gave a short toast about finding happiness and surrounding yourself with people who truly care about you. That night, after all the guests had left, Silas and I sat on the patio of our hotel suite. Are you okay? He asked. With your family not being here. More than okay. If they'd been here, it wouldn't have been about us. It would have been about them wanting money, causing problems, making everything difficult. You're sure you don't want to try to reconnect with them someday? Thought about it. Really thought about it. No. They showed me exactly who they are. When I lost my job, they treated me like I was worthless. They uninvited me from Christmas because my failure might be contagious. When they found out about the money, they didn't congratulate me or ask how I was doing. They just immediately started making demands. Silas nodded. I just want to make sure you're at peace with your decision. I am. Completely. The months after the wedding were busy. The foundation was growing, helping more people every week. We'd funded scholarships for 50 students, helped 30 families avoid eviction, and provided job training for over 100 people who'd lost their jobs. I worked there 4 days a week, meeting with applicants, reviewing cases, making decisions about who to help and how. It was satisfying work. Real work that made a difference. Silas's company funded several of our programs, and he'd gotten other tech executives in Charleston to donate as well. The foundation was becoming exactly what I'd hoped it would be. Aunt Marlowe called me one evening in late September. Your mother is still asking about you. She wanted me to tell you that she forgives you for everything and you're welcome to come home any time. I laughed. She forgives me. That's what she said. She's framing it like you had some kind of breakdown and she's willing to overlook it. Unbelievable. She also asked if I knew whether you'd spent all the money yet. She seems to think you probably wasted it and will need to come crawling back to the family soon. Well, she's wrong. The money is invested. The foundation is thriving. And I'm happier than I've ever been. I know you are, honey. I can hear it in your voice. After we hung up, I sat with Silas in our living room. We'd bought a house together after the wedding, something we'd chosen as a couple. It was comfortable, not too big, in a quiet neighborhood. My mother apparently forgives me, I told him. He raised an eyebrow. How generous of her. She thinks I'll come crawling back after I've wasted all the money. Are you tempted? Even a little? Not even slightly. I don't miss them. I don't think about them except when Aunt Marlowe updates me. And even then, it's just information, not emotion. I don't hate them. I don't wish them harm. I just don't care. That's probably the healthiest attitude. The only thing I feel bad about is Callum's kids. They're innocent in all this. But their parents made their choices. I can't sacrifice my peace and happiness just because their father counted on money that was never his to begin with. Silas put his arm around me. You built a whole foundation to help people like them. Students who need funding for college. You're helping dozens of kids get an education. Just not the ones related to you. He was right. I was helping people just on my terms through proper channels, to people who appreciated it and didn't feel entitled to it. My life was good. I had a husband who loved me for who I was, not what I had. I had meaningful work that made a difference. I had friends who genuinely cared about me. I had Aunt Marlowe, the one family member who'd stood by me. I didn't need my parents, my siblings, or their approval. I'd won the lottery, yes, but the real prize wasn't the money. It was the freedom to build a life on my own terms, surrounded by people who valued me as a person.